How's the stash?
Glorious.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is Stash Cast. Let's go.
So work that waiver wire, make those trades. Do what you got to do. Let's go. Don't be a quitter. Don't be a quitter.
Come on. Do you even want to win?
Jared's like, I'm going to drink a beer a hole, and then does.
Now you get to date your favorite color.
Played the School of the Blind 3
you
times.
You nobody.
All girls school. Way to go.
You're fighting nobody.
So they got 11 guys that want to kick your ass too.
Nia Long, man. Nia freaking Long.
It has been uphill both ways through shit creek.
I'll be naked, passed out somewhere on the floor. Hopefully it's just my own room.
Their offense is great. Their defense makes me want to shit down both legs.
I'm not playing for the next 2 hours. Bring me some chicken.
He's not superstitious, but that sumbitch is a little stitious. I'll tell you that. There ain't no doubt about it.
Stash Cast, baby.
Welcome to Stash Cast, presented by Nashville Stash from downtown Nashville. Wherever you are and whenever you're choosing to join us, we're so jacked that you're here. Please follow and subscribe to Stashcast wherever you're listening to your podcast these days. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, all the platforms. And also go check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Nashville Stash on both. We post a lot of clips of the show, as well as a bunch of other ridiculousness we get into, whether it's on the golf course, talking about the show, things that are coming up down the road and all that kind of stuff. So go check that out. To follow up on the YouTube from last week, we do expect to start posting by the end of this week, hopefully, as we said. So stay tuned on the social medias for updates on that, for those announcements. Anyway, I'm joined by my degenerate crew that I love dearly: Alex Alper, Joe Hudson, Jared Jones, and my beautiful fiance, Kristen Love. Back from her bachelorette trip, is sitting this one out. She's recovering. She's putting her feet up and taking care of herself so she can get back. Plus, she didn't watch a bit of sports while she was at the beach, as she should not have. So she is hanging out, and she will be joining us next week. So we'll miss her, but she's looking very tan, very jealous about that, But other than that, she's doing great. She's back home safely, and she's glad to be home. I did a bit of traveling this past weekend as well. I snuck off to Phoenix to surprise JJ for his baby shower thing they were having. I slipped into town real early, walked in the house. He had no idea, and just walked right up to him in his foyer and was like, "Hey, what's up?" It was pretty epic. He had no idea. They were kind of in a little bit of a hectic time with the food being delivered and it being wrong and a lot of stuff. And he was kind of scrambling, playing, Mr. Good husband, running around doing all these things. And he turns around the corner. I'm standing in his front door, and he was kind of like, holy shit. He just kind of went into my arms. So you got to go check the video out. I put it out today on social media, on Instagram. So you can see the whole build up to it on the plane. And then you can see me actually going into his house and surprise him. So it was a pretty good time. So go check that out. So how surprised were you, JJ?
Super surprised. I mean, I was happy. Definitely went in for the hug. It was good. A good weekend. Awesome you could be there. And then it was a blast. Icing on the cake to watch the games together and talk shit, make gambles. So put bets out there. It was a blast. Could have been a better weekend.
Yeah, it was good. You had a lot of family there. Your mom was there. Your dad was there. A lot of Haley's family and friends were there. It was a pretty heavy. I didn't figure there to be too much from the Jones crew, and just because it's a baby shower, those are typically for the women, and at least the ones that I've been a part of. But you had a pretty good showing from your boys from the Guardians that were there, some guys that you work with. It was a good time. It was a lot of people that showed up. A lot of beer was consumed. I was impressed with the amount of beer that was left over, considering that they were going hard in the paint for probably a solid 8 hours. And then there was 100 beers. I counted them the next day. There was 100 beers on the table that you pulled out of the coolers the next day. That's impressive.
It was Monday morning, as you can attest, was rough. And I'm sure we were not the only ones feeling rough.
Well, I mean, I had a rough night Sunday night just because I had a migraine catch me in the up right around here and under the jaw, and just lit me up, and I was down for the count. So it was it took me to the wee hours of the morning to shake that and get to sleep. But other than that, I had a blast during the day. We watched a lot of football, like you said. We made some bets, talked a lot of shit, played some games, and had a blast. Joe, you caught all the games. When you sat down and looked at the Bills and the Bengals game before it started, one of the questions that I had for Alex, because he gave us great analysis on the 49ers and the Cowboys, which we'll talk about later, but I was so I was consumed with this Bills and Bengals game because I really didn't know how it was going to play out. You looked at the offensive lines for the Bengals. You look at some of the missing pieces on defense for the Bills, and you just kind of go, okay, it's snowing. What's going to happen? And it turned out that the Bengals took that game. But before it started, which way were you really leaning? Did you think the Bills had that game or what?
I would definitely say put the odds on the Bills. I guess in retrospect, like it's a lot easier when you're looking back. You're like, well, which one of those teams has actually just done it recently? They just did it. They're the freshest team off of a Super Bowl in that conference. Josh Allen technically hasn't really done anything yet. They're a defensive minded coach, but the wild card, I think, was the offensive line. And I think everybody was kind of thinking like this could get really ugly really fast. And it ended up being like, I thought that they were like the strength of the game, Yeah,
you're right.
You're right. The weather was a wild card, but you would have also thought that probably would go more in favor of the Bills too. So,
well, I thought when JJ and I looked at it, and we thought, okay, it's snowing. They're going to be that affects obviously your grip and all this kind of stuff. But the fact is that I thought that the issues at the offensive line were going to affect the passing game more than the running game. I thought that the Bills were going to come out trying their best to run it down their throat as best they can, establish that, especially with the weather. They were going to try to keep the ball on the ground and try to get the offensive line a little bit of room and a little bit of time to be able to throw the ball when they needed to. And like you said, it turned into something I wasn't expecting at all. And the O-line just really dominated that game up front. And there was it was frustrating everybody that had a Bills jersey on.
Well, the Bengals came out like really fast, scored really fast. I think Burrow's 4 for 4, touchdown, bam. And then Josh Allen comes in, goes, nope, or whatever. And they punted. I think they had 2 3 and outs. I mean, the tempo from
it was 14-0, bang, quick.
Crazy.
And Josh Allen, in my opinion, obviously Superman, right? He does a lot of great things during the year. But when it gets to be a pressure situation, when the cards are stacked against him, he kind of panics a little. He kind of gets out of his normal, calm, kind of poised game plan and kind of gets a little bit sporadic with the stuff. It starts to rely too much on his legs. And I think when a team like Cincinnati takes that away, it really puts him in a bind, and he really presses, and a lot of things that a lot of his flaws come to the surface. And you see that in the frustration with Stephon Diggs. He's obviously frustrated with not getting the ball, but I think his response to it made a lot of sense. He's like, you expect me to be happy with losing? You expect me to be happy with us not playing up to the caliber that we're supposed to be playing? That's the kind of thing that I'm frustrated about. If you expect me to be okay with that, then you got the wrong guy. Right. But, Joe Burrow is just a flat out winner. I mean, dude's cool, man. He's just very calm, very collected. Doesn't really get rattled. Even when when he doesn't really play well, he never really looks rattled. And yeah, I think the experience of last year has a lot to do with it. That's a build, that confidence in yourself, right? Like the Chiefs go in, and they've been to this is their 5th straight AFC championship. The conversation we had was like, you said, Joe, it kind of low key feels under the radar. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because I feel like we've come to expect them to be there. So it's just a foregone conclusion that the Chiefs are going to be in the AFC championship game. So they win, they get there. It's like, okay. And then all of a sudden Mahomes gets, hurt. And it's like, oh no, are the Jags going to nip the Chiefs without Mahomes? Like, what's going to happen here? And, the Jags were hot. They were a hot team, and that's not a team you want to run into. And they made a run at it, 27-20. They made a run at it with Mahomes on the high ankle sprain, which we'll see whether he says he'll play. We'll see whether he does next week. But with the high ankle sprain, he comes back after halftime. They get the game done. They move on. But that was everybody in the room sucked the wind out of the room where we were, JJ.
Agreed. Shout out Chad Henne, though. I think he's had like 10 snaps all year. He comes in, it's a 98-yard drive, and it's a huge moment to 10-7. So put him up 17-7. I thought it turned the page, and Mahomes came back in. So not only the wind got sucked out, he kept him afloat. Then that Mo came back to see Patrick come out, even though he's got a high ankle sprain.
We talked about that. The backup quarterback coming in clutch. How often do we see it come in? We saw it early on in the year with Cooper Rush in Dallas. We see it with Brock Purdy coming in.
And, what do you think the odds were before the season? Starting quarterbacks of the Super Bowl is Chad Henne versus Brock Purdy. There's it wouldn't have even been in consideration. Not a single human on the planet would have thought that scenario up.
No, wonder what the odds on that would have been.
That's that lottery pick right there.
Yeah, that's
lower than the United States debt. I'll say that much.
That's that $502 million Powerball you just dialed up for a tweeter.
Yeah, that's a huge one. But as far as the game was concerned, the Chiefs look good. I mean, the Chiefs with that, if Mahomes is healthy, I don't think it's a close game. I mean,
but he's not.
No, but he's not. I'm talking about the Jags game.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about the Jags game. If he doesn't get hurt, I don't think that that's a close game. I think that him going down and being hobbled a little bit just ignited just a little bit of hope and a little bit of fire in a Jags team that's all they needed was just a crack in the door to feel like they had a chance. And they did, and they pushed it down the field and they were close and they had, some things go bad, but nothing was as bad as the beat down in Philly this weekend. It was a national championship repeat. It felt like it was a sit 'em at
college
halftime
football game.
Yeah, it was a sit 'em at halftime and let's rest our legs kind of deal.
They might as well eating chicken wings on the sideline too. I mean, it was.
Yeah, and I felt like the Chiefs kind of had a little bit of that 2-week layoff rust in their game. The Eagles looked like they had that 2 weeks get fully rested and come back like 110%, type of break, which is scary because a fully healthy Eagles team with that defense and that offense, for all intents and purposes, going against a team like the 49ers next week, that with that defense and those linebackers and that offense and how dynamic it can be, that's going to be, in my opinion, the game to see. I love the Chiefs. I love the Bengals and I love Joe Burrow, but that NFC game is the one that I've got my eyes on for sure.
Are you guys all upset because all of you guys picked, most of you except Joe, I think, had Buffalo winning it all, right? Are you guys doing okay?
No, I had the Chiefs and you have the Eagles and JJ has the Eagles. Yeah, I wrote it down.
I had the Bills.
You had the Bills. I thought you stuck to Philly.
Right, Eagles,
you took Philly to win. You thought, you said Philly's going to get one this year. So I got the Chiefs. Alex has the Eagles. Joe has the 49ers. Kristen took the Bills, and JJ has the Eagles. So that's where it stands right now. And I'll be honest with you. I think that it's going to be the Eagles or the 49ers. I feel like either one of those teams is just going to flat out mollywop either one of the teams coming out the AFC. But, Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow is the guy that gets there, I think they can. I think the Bengals could do it. But
you don't think the Chiefs could beat either one of the teams?
I'm pretty sure this is JJ's work with the Bills right here.
There you go.
And there's a one Nick Mars also with the Bills right here.
No. You're talking about that bracket. I'm talking about
to catch
I'm talking about
Alex.
This last week. I'm talking about the whole thing. Like your guys' initial picks are done.
I'm talking about like 6 weeks ago, Alex, on the show for those picks. Our original Super Bowl picks when I asked on the show like 6 weeks ago. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
What we took in the bracket is definitely some differences there. The bracket is busted. But as far as the bracket record is concerned right now, I'm 8-2, K-Love's 8-2, JJ's 8-2, Alex and Joe are 7-3. So
I'm gonna win that though.
I made a bold pick thinking the Giants might sneak up on the Eagles. It was a dumb idea. And I took a loss for it. So big deal.
Speaking of the Giants, not just a random change. I saw today that Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are both free agents. So from what I thought, they at least got a little momentum to build on for next year. I really don't know if they do.
Right.
Talking about franchising Saquon. And I think Jones, you think they could try to go get Aaron Rodgers? Nobody's talking about him going to the Giants.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think I just roll the dice with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But now you have to pay
you
the
can
man.
if you can go back and get him, yeah, you got to pay him.
He's not a
And-
$40 million quarterback, though.
No,
No, but the going rate for a quarterback nowadays is $30 million.
yeah, but
And
he's got
it's
he's got a smart agent. He knows he's not.
The
gonna get that money.
Seahawks aren't going to pay Geno $30 million either. So, like,
Well, I mean, the Giants don't want Gino.
Daniel owned his money or is going to get paid. That man had a great season this year, and he went from having a ridiculous number of interceptions to like 5 in the regular season.
Right.
So, like,
If he needs to stay his ass in Seattle, because if he goes anywhere else, it's not going to be the same thing. It's a It's a Pete Carroll effect. He needs to keep his ass in Seattle in that system.
I don't.
With those
we can
two
talk about
receivers.
this another day. Gino is not going to be the Seattle quarterback next year.
No, you don't think so?
We'll see.
I mean, if he tries to get $30 million, they're not going to give him that. Maybe they give him 2 years at 16. But when they decided, like, hey, we're going to get rid of Russell Wilson, I'm sure they had a multi-year rebuild plan that didn't include paying somebody $30 million. Because when you pay somebody $30 million, then you can't pay 5 other guys or 6 other guys or 7 other guys $4 million. And yeah, they'd rather have 2 defensive ends. Like,
we can get into contracts.
Cincinnati, that's what
and all that kind of
Cincinnati
stuff.
did, because they're still on the rookie contract for Joe Burrow. So they went out there in the offseason and got 2 incredible defensive ends who are making it work. They also rebuilt their offensive line because they're paying Joe Burrow, what, $6-7 million a year? Not 30. That's how they're so good right now.
Not yet.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get paid in the offseason too, but still.
I mean, between him and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon, and they're about to have to start paying people or getting rid of people. So watch out for that Cincinnati team to get dismantled. So they're trying to hold on and trying to get going as many as they can. Right. But speaking of the Bengals, Burrow 3-0 against Mahomes, 4-0 potentially with this injury. I mean, if Mahomes is on one leg, let's say he plays, he's on one leg if he plays. I mean, a stationary Mahomes that can't create is not exactly the Mahomes that's an MVP.
Not against that D line.
70% of quarterbacks, though.
Do what?
I'd take him over 70% of healthy quarterbacks.
I mean, obviously, okay. You taking Mahomes at 70% over Joe Burrow at 100?
Nope.
That's what I thought.
Take him over Dak Prescott.
Right, but he's not playing Dak Prescott. He's playing Joe Burrow.
True. Josh Allen got a cheeseburger ate all fucking day. And now we're going to have a guy that's on one leg get his cheeseburger. You're telling me he's going to play out his ass? No, he can't fucking move.
Listen, okay. Mahomes is a freak of nature. I'm not going to take it away from him. He's going to play out of his ass. He's going to shoot that thing up. We can barely feel it. And he's going to play, and he's going to do some stuff that we're not going to be able to believe that he's done. That's Mahomes, right? And I'm expecting it. I'm ready for it. But the Bengals are consistently good the last 9 weeks. The week that they, almost lost to the Ravens in the wild card round was because that was the 3rd time that they played them. That familiarity was there. I mean, divisional rival, it's going to happen. But they got through that game. They looked back to normal and beat the shit out of the Bills and made them, manhandled them. And now they've got the Chiefs, who they've beat 3-0.
And that D line knows that he's hurt, and it's not like they're not going to go after that section.
Little blood in the water. You know what I mean?
Are they favored right now?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the line yet because I typically don't want to get my hopes up. But that's the reality of that matchup right now. It is solely based on that kid's ankle and whether or not what he's going to be able to do, because he's still going to be able to do good. What's the line, Alex?
You guess what the line is. Tell me who's favored and what the line is, according to our friends at DraftKings, sponsor us.
Bengals 2.5.
Chiefs -1. That'd be my guess.
JJ?
Chiefs 3.5.
It's Bengals -1.5 right now.
That feels more safe, honestly. It's crazy to say it, but just you're right, man. That ankle injury is just he is the maestro of the orchestra, man.
Yeah, there's no telling what he's going to be able to pull off. But
Chiefs are plus 110 on the money line. Bengals are -130, and then the other game, Eagles -2.5. They are -145, and the 49ers +2.5 are at +125. So that means if you're plus 125, you bet $100, you win 125. You got to, if you're betting on the Eagles to win, you got to bet 145 to win 100.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for that description. Because again, that's one of those questions that I always feel like my dad asked me. He's like, remind me again about that money line.
How's this work?
But
Yeah.
so thank you for the additional explanation on. What do you guys think about Josh Allen? Well, I mean, I made a comment about his relying on his legs too much and kind of panicking. What do the Bills got to do to get over the hump? Because in regular season, they look strong and they can look unbeatable at times, and they can look awful at times. They're so Jekyll and Hyde. What do they got to do to get over the hump? I know they had some major injuries on defense, but offensively they didn't. Offensively they didn't have any major injuries or anything.
Allen got hurt. Allen's elbow, when he got hurt, I mean, that played a big factor this season, at least, for sure. There was a lot of
run the damn ball,
a lot of numbers, but they had James Cook. Pretty sure James Cook, I'm pretty sure he led the league in yards per carry this season for any running back over 80 carries on the year. I think he averaged like 5.8, 5.9 yards. I'm pretty sure he led the NFL.
Joe, where was that this weekend? Because they didn't run the ball for shit.
But isn't that the Bills' MO? Isn't that the same thing we say about the Bills every year, is that they just don't run the ball enough? Like they just don't run the ball enough. They rely on Josh's legs, and that's their running game.
And
I feel like we say that at the end of every year. It's like if he's not running the ball, then they don't have a running game. I mean, they've ran the ball more this year, I think, than they have in the previous couple. But it still was, they're very much. I remember the first year that Josh Allen came on, it was like they were throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game. Now they've reeled that in. But he's still, when they have a sense of trouble, just a littlest like moment of trouble, they just bag the running game and they just start chucking it.
His number of interceptions in the red zone this year was incomprehensible. Like I felt like he gets inside the 20-yard lines and he becomes Dak Prescott.
Yikes.
Nick, right out of the half, the Bills got a field goal going into half and they get the ball back. And Nick and I were like, they got to score here. And then the momentum starts to shift. And they come out 3 straight passes, 2 incompletes and a sack. It was like, right, well, the air is sucked out of that stadium. They're punting. Here we go. This thing's over. I think they're way too reliant on Josh Allen. I'm right there with Nick on this. I think the Bills to step forward, you put a mediocre quarterback in there all preseason, learn how to win by not being totally reliant on him, and then watch Superman come back in the picture.
I think it's chemistry. You got to have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it's all tinkering and playing.
But their defense
Let's be honest. Their defense had some injuries. Their defense has made, was really good all year. I mean, and
they went from Von Miller got hurt, and their defensive pressure numbers.
Micah Hyde was hurt.
Yeah, and they were top 10 in being able to rush the quarterback. As soon as those two guys went out, especially Von Miller in like November, early December, I don't remember when, they went from 10th to like 27th in defensive pressure. If you can't get your hands on the quarterback and you can't get your hands on a good quarterback, like Cincinnati, like whomever on Mahomes, you give them time, they're gonna pick you apart. And they didn't have that, and that was a huge loss to them.
Absolutely,
I think the defense failed them more than the offense did this year, and it sucked. It even happened in that game. They lost so many players in the secondary. They were on practice squad guys in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ironic though. This did happen. I mean, it probably has no connection or whatnot. These are, adults, but they had the game with DeMar Hamlin getting injured, and then they didn't play again until they played Miami. Barely kind of escaped with that game. I don't think anybody said they look great. I don't think it has any. I don't. But I mean, that's another piece. Obviously, they lost on their defense. They lost 2 guys pretty much in the middle of that game. This last week. I mean, it was.
Well, let's be honest. They looked like they were going to get their shit pushed in the first time they were playing the Bengals when DeMar Hamlin got hurt. The Bengals were running it up and down their throat. And they were 7-0 real
quick again.
It was 7-0 quick, and they were about to, and T. Higgins was just about to take it into the red zone when he got tackled by DeMar Hamlin. That game was about to get out of hand as well. So the Bills didn't look good for about a month. It wasn't like it was the DeMar Hamlin injuries spurred them off the tracks. They were kind of sputtering before that. but we always have this Josh Allen Superman in the back of our mind is going to pull it out. And regardless of how bad it looks, a W is a W. Winning in the NFL is hard, right?
He hasn't done anything.
Right.
He hasn't done
No,
anything.
that's true.
He really hasn't.
When I say we, I would say the proverbial sports talking head assumes that Josh Allen has hung the moon.
Talk
Even
about
though
the
he hasn't
lovable
done diddly
losers that
squat.
are Buffalo,
So
right?
until you've been
You're
there,
also
until you've done
aces
it.
out, missing field goals in back-to-back Super Bowls, not being able to get there. Like they've always been like not America's team, but as soon as they started getting good again, everybody started getting behind Buffalo because they're like, oh, they haven't been there so long, haven't won a Super Bowl in like
True.
a bajillion years.
Mm-hmm.
So like we were all like in our hearts being like, oh yeah, they're gonna do it. It was just a bad game against Miami. We all wanted them to keep going. But
Right.
if we would have looked at the stats on the paper and been like, oh my God, their defensive metrics are horrible. And
Right.
Josh Allen is not a good quarterback inside the red zone. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? But
Right.
betting with our hearts.
Yeah, which is a bad thing to do. Don't bet with your heart. Bet with your brain. Bet with your big old brain.
I went with the heart on this one, and obviously swung and missed. Yeah, just seeing storybook ending. Hamlin was there. Like, I was like, they played like shit last week. I'm like, they're gonna bounce back. They've got so much energy. This is it, and just they should know how to play in the snow better than anybody.
Yeah,
the Bengals went and showed them how to play in the snow. It was not the game.
Well, my money that day was on the Bengals. I took the points in all the games, and it went my way most of the time, except for the game against the Eagles and the Giants, which I'll be honest with you, the Eagles looked really, really strong. I don't really have much else to say other than watch out. That game's going to be awesome to watch. So I cannot wait to see how it goes down against the 49ers. But the 49ers and the Cowboys game that they played was probably
laugher.
I mean, did you see the post that the Cowboys put out after the game about giving the ball away, and if they hadn't given the ball away twice, that they would have won the game? And it was from their like official Instagram or Twitter account, and it was a picture of Dak Prescott sitting on the bench looking at his little surface there, and
Really?
the comment, and I'm like, how are you going to throw your quarterback under the bus like that right after the game? Like, the organization did it. It's not like it was a news report or something like that. This was the Cowboys' official Instagram or Twitter. I can't remember which one it was. I'm sure Alex will hunt it down for us, but it was laughable. And I'm like, all the comments were like, get out of that toxic environment, get out of that place, get out of that building, and go find somewhere that you can actually play football.
For Dak.
But good gracious, I mean, that football game was pretty good game. I mean, other than if the two picks, granted, if the two picks don't happen, it's a lot closer than than what we looked at. But
can't say that,
dude. But 49ers, man, that defense is tough. Those linebackers.
Eagles number one defense, 49ers number two defense is going to be a good one.
Mars, mental note that I will never make sure to hold me to this. Never bet on the Cowboys in the postseason, because there's no culture, there's no team. That tweet was horseshit. It goes back to them talking inside about Mike McCarthy getting fired if he loses the Bucks. Like, that culture is so toxic. If you don't call that America's team, man, they're a joke. That's why nobody likes them.
Love it.
Yeah.
Dak is not the guy, right? You guys, Dak is not the guy.
Well, I don't necessarily know if Dak's not the guy. I can't really say that. I think that he's a pretty good quarterback. I just think that we have to really take a step back and look at what Jared just said, because I think it has more of an effect on a guy who's been very vocal about his mental health issues in the past. And you start to say, okay, you got this guy who's got all these dealings with depression and all this stuff that going through playing for this man named Jerry Jones, who creates a very toxic and very hostile environment to work in. Jared, you work in pro sports. You know the effect of the boss and how their attitude it trickles down to everybody in the building. And you know very well how the attitude whether it's a positive attitude or a negative attitude, and how that's reflected all the way down. Because if you've got people walking on eggshells all the time, you've got a different morale than an organization like the Guardians, in which my experience has been very warm, a very family oriented place, whether you're in the spring training facility in Arizona or whether you're at Progressive Field in Cleveland. The team and people who are part of the organization feel like they are all on the same page, as whether it's the president of baseball ops, to Tito, to you, to the security guy, Paul, or anybody in between.
I think, we've all been a part of good teams. When the people around us are succeeding, we succeed too. So for them to point the finger, it's just toxic. That's not a winning culture. It's not a winning environment. It's not a growing environment. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going back, pointing the finger, afraid they're going to lose their ass. Jerry Jones just needs to be an owner and not try to be a manager. But that's long overdue. Yeah,
but that's a moot point. That'll never happen until they put him in the ground. He's not going anywhere.
Dak's hit next year because they just signed him to, not that long ago, a 4-year, $160 million contract. Next year he'll earn a base salary of $31 million. His cap hit will be $49 million, and if they were to just get rid of him, his dead cap hit would be $89 million.
So Dak's not going anywhere.
Look at Joe dying over there.
I'm just really happy about all that.
Then again, you're married to that guy for another 2 years. You're tweeting that shit. It's not the way.
Why are you happy about that? Because you like the Redskins?
Yeah, I hate Dallas. I hate the Eagles fan base the most, but I hate the Dallas Cowboys. Although I hate Dan Snyder more than every NFL rival combined.
Of course.
But man, I love watching this. I love I love the drama. I love that Jerry just is not gonna die ever. I mean, he's just gonna be there until they're playing in space, and he's gonna be like recruiting aliens and shit. We just found this quarterback's out of this world. Like, that's Jerry Jones, man. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
160 million, 89 million cap, something like that. Love it.
$89 million dead cap value. If he was not on the team, that's what they would hit. If they released him, that would be.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Impossible. Wow, that sucks for him. But great for you, Joe. I mean, it makes you happy, so good for you. All right, so let's go AFC Championship first, because I think the NFC Championship game's harder and I need more time to think about it. So AFC Championship game, Chiefs, Bengals, 1.5, basically a pick'em game.
In
JJ,
Kansas City.
In Kansas City. Has anybody taken a look at the weather?
I'm on it.
Look at the weather and let's look at what we think. So let's take into consideration a couple of things. 3-0 Burrow against Mahomes. Does that matter to you, JJ? Is that a stat that matters to you if you say, or in this situation, is it history not repeat itself? Or is it something where you say, is that one of those things kind of like where you say so-and-so's kind of always got so-and-so's number, like Larry, like Larry and Magic, right?
So for me, like, those numbers, the farther they get, the longer they go, the more likely they're just bound to get broke. So I'm not really totally looking at that. What I'm looking at, I think the weather's a factor. So I'm waiting for the professor.
25 degrees Fahrenheit with snow showers expected throughout the morning. Winds headed north 10 to 20 miles per hour. It is not going to be a pretty day in Kansas City, but it's going to be
last week.
Super fun to watch. Yeah.
Look, when I hear 25 degrees and 10 to 20 mile an hour winds and snow in the morning, what I hear is cold as fuck. That's what I hear. So when I hear that, I think about the days where I used to have any type of injury in a joint, whether it was a shoulder, an ankle, a knee, and anything. In a cold game, that ankle is going to be so stiff. There is no, and you're thinking about how cold your feet get anyways when you're outside in 25 degrees in the snow. Think about if you're in some like warm ass hiking boots with like got Sherpa and 4,000 milligrams of insulin in them, and they're all warm and cozy. They're like Crocs 3.0, right? And your feet are still cold first. I go hunt, right? And I've got some 1,600 Thinsulate hunting boots that are up to my knees, rubber, the warmest things that you can put on your feet. If you put them on and walk through the house, your feet are sweating. They're hot boots. And if it gets down into the like 20s, my feet will still get cold in those boots. So if you think about how cold your feet would get in some cleats out there with your foot wrapped up in tape, and that's a numb foot, yeah, but it's a stiff foot. He is not moving. He is not moving anywhere.
Don't you want it to be cold and like he's not going to be able to feel the pain? I mean, he's going to get shot up anyway. But
I don't want it cold. I want it to be as flexible as I can get it.
He's going to wake up in bed and his ankle's going to tell him it's below freezing before he even rolls out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I live in California. I don't even know what freezing feels like. So I got you.
So let's keep that. Let's take that in consideration. But also at the same token, the other side of that coin is that Mahomes there is a magic there, and you've got to keep in mind that that's going to show up. It's going to show its face at some point during this game. So the question to me is, can Burrow and the Bengals get enough on the board before Mahomes' magic starts making that push? Because it's coming, and it might be late, and it might be late third quarter, it might be fourth quarter, but it's coming. Now, can Bengals get enough on the board to withstand it? I think that's the question. To me, I think I got to ride with the guys who are fully healthy and look the strongest, look the hottest. And even though the Chiefs, a healthy Chiefs, I think look hotter than the Bengals. If Mahomes isn't hurt, this is a totally different game for me. But with Mahomes being stiff, I think I got to take the Bengals.
I think it just starts really the beginning of the game, like whatever happens in the beginning of the game. Because if Burrow and them come out firing and they just put Mahomes on the field having to throw, then I think that's going to be really tough for them to do. But if the Chiefs can come out and get Pacheco the ball, honestly, Kadarius Toney, I can see that dude getting a lot of PT this game, a lot of random plays, maybe even some he gets the hike and he just takes it. I could see some really interesting plays with Kadarius Toney this weekend. And Andy Reid, man, that guy's smart as shit. And that guy is looking at like, well, I'll put Chad Henne in for 5 minutes, threw a touchdown. If I got to do it again, I'll do it again. I think that I agree with you. It makes more sense, but
take the experience, take the Andy Reid, take the brain, take the big football brain inside Andy Reid's head, take the guy with the beautiful stash. And I understand that too, because like I said, there's a lot more aspects to the game than just Mahomes and Burrow. There's a lot of other people playing football. Pacheco runs the ball hard as anybody I've seen run the football in a long time.
That's the X factor for me. The weather makes me think more Bengals because we just saw them do it. It's recency bias. I think the game for me is on the ground. So Joe Mixon controlled the game against the Bills. Anytime they needed him, he was there. The Chiefs only allowed 46 yards with Travis Etienne, but I'll take Joe Mixon over Travis Etienne any day. So I'm going to take the Bills. I think regardless, the running game going to control it. If Pacheco can keep running the ball like he did last time, keep Mahomes from having to scramble, I think it keeps the Chiefs in it better. Well, I'll put my money on the Bengals. -1.5.
Over Joe, Patrick Mahomes right now over under 2.5 touchdown passes.
Ooh, I'll say under just because of the wild card factor that he gets hurt and has to leave the game. I would not take an over just because of that, but shit, man, I can see Travis Kelce having 37 catches this week.
You're going over. Over is +166, so you bet 100 win 166. Under, you got about $221 to win 100. It is -221 for under 2.5 touchdowns right now.
What are we going to chat in?
Everybody's expecting. Everybody's expecting him to.
I try to figure out. I don't see any odds
standing still somewhere. I got a little hair on my
finishing the game. Yeah, no finishing the game odds at the moment.
That's the main thing is like just having to play the odds. We're talking about that ankle and how cold it is. I mean, one bad hit. Bengals are not going to be like, Bengals are not going to be playing. They're going to be trying to take him out of the game in the first 5 minutes.
Right. All right. So you take Joe. Did I hear you right? You're taking the Chiefs.
I don't feel comfortable with it. No, I actually like the Bengals. It's just it doesn't
make a pick, buddy.
I know. Give me the Chiefs because that was my original pick for my bracket. It was Chiefs versus 49ers in the championship. Screw it. I'll root against it just to talk some
Well,
shit.
you got a +1.5. You got a +1.5. Maybe they get it at a plus. Maybe they
Take
get
the Chiefs.
There you go, Alex. What you got?
I also picked the Chiefs to play the Eagles in the Super Bowl, so I'll stick with that if I have to. Otherwise, if I didn't have to, my money's going on the Bengals for this one. I don't think Mahomes finishes the game.
Yeah, I think
high ankle strain is not something. I don't know. That seems
it could
tough.
be tough, but we'll see. It could end up being a very defensive game out of nowhere. We'll see. That's what kind of happens in these weather games. You never know. It's a big game. They're both great teams. They're both there for a reason. It'll be great to watch. I can't wait to see it. What about in the NFC? Are we all pretty much split down the middle on the 49ers Eagles, or are we? I know Joe's got the 49ers because that's what he picked. I know Alex has got the Eagles. JJ, have you landed on a pick yet?
I haven't even looked at the spread, but regardless, I'm gonna go Eagles. They just didn't show any rust. Gainwell had 112 yards on 12 carries. They didn't even need Jalen Hurts to hardly pass the ball. I mean, they were just firing all cylinders. I'm assuming that's rolling into this week as well.
2.5 is the spread. 2.5.
Well, here's what I'll say. Dallas does have a good defensive front, and I think that they were able to put enough pressure on Brock Purdy to keep them fairly bottled up. I think when you look at the front for the Eagles against the offense for the 49ers, I want to kind of give the edge to scramblability and the creatability of Jalen Hurts, but the reality is that 49ers got two inside linebackers that are going to be all over Jalen Hurts scrambling, getting anywhere. They've got a defense front between Armstead and Nick Bosa. The defense that they're going up against is unlike any they've played. And that goes both ways, right? So I think it's who has the breakdown, who has the field position battle in the first place, because if anybody's got the ability to come back, it's the Eagles. But I think that for my money, I think I'm going to go. I'm going to take the points in the game. Whatever the points are, whoever's plus points, that's what I'm taking.
49ers plus 2.5. So you're putting it all on Mr. Irrelevant, the 262nd overall pick of the draft. The very last person.
Mr. Not So Irrelevant. Right. That's who I'm picking. Yeah.
So back in my day at the Angels, when we after the NFL draft, Mr. Irrelevant would go on like a press tour. Like that position, the person who gets picked last is usually like somebody's like son or what have you. And you basically go on this giant press tour and they throw out a first pitch at all these baseball games. They did it in Anaheim when I was there every year. And the guy's basically like a pony, like a show pony, like, he's part of the NFL draft, Mr. Irrelevant, blah, 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 blah. And, whatever. You smile and kiss babies and whatnot. Yeah. Incredible that this guy actually is playing football. Incredible that he wasn't cut. Most football teams this year did not carry 3 quarterbacks. And when you get down to that 52nd, 53rd pick that you're going to, or position on your board, you're usually not like, I'm going to take this third quarterback. I'm going to take this, defensive tackle or this tight end or this other running back or what have you. So for him to even be able to make the team and make his $76,000, which was how much he signed for that pick. To be relevant and to be 8-0.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yeah, true.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you who Brock Purdy is relevant to. Brock Purdy is very, very relevant to Mattress Mack. And when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into Alex's new Sports Insider business segment and this week on Mattress Mack. So I can't wait to hear about that. So we're going to take a quick break and we come back with Alex. Sports Business with the Professor.
Gonna get learned up, but there's so much money behind sports. His name is Mattress Mack.
OG discount double check.
Won $75 million. Damn, if I marry her, she'll be the cheapest employee that I have. Here's $3,000 you can put underneath that mattress. Without TV, there literally would not be any more sports. That shit went viral. There it is. The best of the best. This week, we're going to talk about someone that everyone might know or maybe even have heard of, even though they probably never bought a mattress from this man. His name is Mattress Mack, Jim McIlvaine, who is the CEO and owner of the Gallery Furniture Store in Houston. There's actually 3 furniture stores. You may have seen recently that he won $75 million, the largest payout for a sports bet in the history of the world. $75 million. He bet on the 2022 Astros, which is why I'm wearing the 2022 Mariners playoff sweatshirt.
Go Guards.
Hoodie. There it is. Yeah, JJ feels my pain too. The promotion that he ran is if you spent $3,000 on a mattress during this promotional weekend that he ran this, and the Astros won the World Series, you get your mattress back for free. That's right. He's giving all that money right on back. You spend $3,000, you're getting that $3,000 back. And then because he's such a cool dude and he won so much money, he said, you know what? Not only are you getting the money back for your mattress, I'm also going to give you twice that amount back. So like if you spent $3,000, not only is he giving you that $3,000 back, he's giving you an extra $3,000.
Doubling it.
Free
mattress plus 3,000.
Yeah. Here's the money you gave me. I'm giving that back. You keep the mattress. And oh, by the way, here's $3,000 you can put underneath that mattress. Incredible, right? What the hell is this guy doing, right? From a sports business standpoint. I mean, already incredible, right? You guys have heard of him, correct?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
he's very
Definitely.
much somebody I want to follow and see what he's doing.
Sounds like got the OG discount double check.
Exactly. So let's give a little history about Jim, or Mattress Mack as he is better known. Jim grew up in the Dallas area, played football, and I'm not really sure how, played football at the University of Texas. He also played football at North Texas University. This was in like the early 60s or the late 60s, early 70s. I guess you could play for 2 schools at that time. Anyway, he racked up he was on 2 national championship teams with UT in 69 and 70. But in 1981, he's like, him and his girlfriend at the time, he was like, baby, I want to start a mattress store. And she was like, you're going to have to marry me first. And she's like, he immediately with his entrepreneurial mind said, all right, if I marry this lady, is it going to be worth my time? And he said, his thought was, damn, if I marry her, she'll be the cheapest employee that I have. And I was like, oh my God, amazing, right? So he takes his $5,000, right? And that in 1981, that $5,000 is worth about $16,000 today. So in today's day and age, imagine starting a furniture store with $16,000. So he bought all this furniture and got a location for it, literally slept there with his wife to make sure nobody would steal it, used his truck to pick up the stuff and deliver it. And that was his deal. And he was in Houston at the time for this small place. And oil was booming at this point in time. And as oil was booming, so were sales for Mattress Mack. And he was doing well until oil started going down, thanks to the Reagans and the Reagan economics. And sales started going down as well. So because of that, he basically down to his last $10,000. He was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And what do you do as a marketing man myself? You go buy $10,000 versus TV ads in Houston. So that's what he did. He bought them across 3 different stations, and he has a bit of a stuttering issue. And they were basically on the last take, running out of the reel film. And they're like, if we don't get this on this take, it's done. So what does Mattress Mack do? He says, Gallery Furniture saves you money. Literally took the money out of his pocket, threw it in the air. Boom. That was his tagline for life. Gallery Furniture saves you money. And before the internet, that shit went viral. And that's basically how he became known. Now the man does about $200 million a year in sales. He's worth, although we don't really know, according to Forbes, he's worth somewhere around $300 million in net worth. But he's a marketing dude, and he is ridiculously smart, you guys. Mm-hmm. So he's also a huge sports fan. Obviously, you've seen some of the bets that he has done. His first bet the beginning of the Houston Texans, because he's a Houston guy, right? It was Houston versus Dallas. I don't even know what the point spread was. He was like, there was no way Houston was going to win this game. And basically he said, if you come and you spend over $3,000 on a mattress over these 3 days, and if Houston beats Dallas, you will get your mattress for free. And so in those 3 days, he did $2 million worth of business.
Jesus.
And that man was going crazy because at halftime, Houston, even though they were heavy underdogs, they were up 14-0. And he was like, oh my God, this is incredible. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to give all this money back. Well, they ended up getting their ass kicked and score again for the second half. But everyone was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I just got a free mattress. And so he was like, all right, I think there's something to this, right? So he did it again. Broncos Seahawks. Broncos were favored by 2.5. That was during the Peyton Manning era. Seahawks had a very young, on his rookie contract, Russell Wilson. And he had a couple of guys in his office who were like, oh, this is a guaranteed, no problem. Definitely the Broncos are going to win. And this is just another example for you guys. Never listen to your friends and family who are like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. And he's like, all right, great, no-brainer. I'm going to put I'm going to do this promotion again. And we'll be like, if the Broncos win, everyone gets their no. If the Seahawks win, everyone will get their mattress for free. And the Seahawks won 43-8. And he didn't hedge his bet, right? He didn't bet on it. Okay. He just ran this promotion like, oh, if the Seahawks win,
right.
$9 million. $9 million in sales. So he called his wife. He wasn't even watching. He was on like the treadmill. Called his wife. He's like, oh, how's the game going? She's like, we lost $9 million, you dummy. So he's like, this is really cool because everyone is like, they're getting furniture for free, right? They're getting mattresses for free. And everyone who's doing this is like, oh my God, this is crazy. When he does one of these crazy promotions, you totally got to go buy this mattress, right? And the way it works is that if Mattress Mack wins, the people win. He started to figure this out a bit later by hedging his bets, right? So he would run this promotion, right? So like in 2017, he ran 2017, he bet on the Astros to win. The Astros were, where are my numbers? All right. No, in 2021, here we go. 2021, he bet $3.35 million on the Astros to win the World Series. They were 10-1 odds. So if he would have won, he would win $35.6 million, right? He would, and that'd be great. They, over that time period of how much, I think it was 3 days for this promotion where you come in, if you buy a mattress or furniture over $3,000, you're then qualified to potentially get your money back if the Astros win. He did about $5.9 million in those couple days, right? So even if he would have lost that $3.5 million that he bet, right? He ended up getting $5.9 million in sales. So you subtract those two. The man lost, the Astros lost, but he ended up making $2.55 million. Not only that, it was all over CNN. None of us live in Houston, but we all heard about it, right?
Right.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Now, if he would have won the bet, he would have won $35.6 million, minus his $3.3 million bet, minus the $5.9 million, and he would have pocketed $26.35 million.
Not a bad day.
He had to lose the last couple times to say, hey, I think there's a better way to do this.
And now he is. And initially when he was doing it, he was like trying to get people to insure him to do it, like insurance companies to do this. And then the odds started changing. So when he did this for the Astros, all of a sudden they went out there and got Zach Greinke, and their odds changed from being a hardcore underdog to then being favored. And the insurance companies were like, we're not paying, we're not going to insure you for this. This isn't worth our money. Right. So he did that in 2017. The last bet that he actually won was in 2017. Then he went on a pretty hardcore cold streak. He bet on the Astros to win against the Nationals in 2019. He lost $13 million. He lost 3 different bets against the Chiefs, the Titans, and the 49ers in 2020. 2021, he bet on the Bucks against the Chiefs. He bet on the Titans to win the AFC Championship, and we all know how that went in 2021. Sorry, you guys. He bet on the Kentucky Derby. He lost that. He bet on the Astros to win in 2021. He lost on that. He bet on the Crimson Tide at the beginning of this year to win the national championship. They didn't even make it. He bet on the Titans to win the Super Bowl in 2022, and they lost their first playoff game. So, he's kind of been all over the board, right? But let's think about it from a business perspective, right? Imagine, JJ, you have just purchased a mattress, a Sealy, like one of those soft memory foam. You spent $5,000 on this mattress, right? Even though, and you're obviously getting a very good night's sleep, right? Imagine how it feels about you getting that credit card statement back and showing a $5,000 credit to your account.
Compared to zero.
I'll take that all day.
Right? So, but what are you going to tell people about Mattress Mack after this experience yourself?
Well, I'm holding out, waiting for one of those bets again, and then go send all my buddies back to Mattress Mack.
But yeah, if you personally did this, what type of feelings would you have if all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I just got this $5,000 mattress for free, basically? Like, right? You're going to be stoked.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're not only going to be stoked, you're going to tell all your friends and family about it. You're going to post on social media about it. And we know Joe has, tens of thousands of followers. If he would have done it, oh my God, place would have gone crazy, right? So he gets not only all this advertising, but then he gets all the people advertising for him, right? They immediately become brand ambassadors for Mattress Mack. And they're like, this shit's for real. This shit happened to me. All the furniture in my house is free because of Mattress Mack. Like literally creating a lifetime customer. That feeling that you must get, even if you don't know shit about sports, and all of a sudden you're like, I just paid $3,000 for whatever the hell I bought, a mattress, and I just got my $300 credit back on my credit card statement, or $3,000 in cash. Incredible.
I hit $20 in the scratch off. I'm ready to shit down my leg. I'm so excited. So I can't imagine $5,000 back.
Right? So
Jesus
this guy's
Christ.
a marketing genius. He wrote a book in 2002 called Always Think Big. And let me dive in a little bit more. Hold on. So he's basically like, if I don't get people into my store, they're going to sit there in their underwear at home and just buy this shit on Amazon. So he's like, and he doesn't do much online sales. You basically have to go in to experience the Mattress Mack phenomenon, right? He's got 3 locations. At his biggest location, indoor playground, a mattress the size of Texas. He's got exotic birds, monkeys. He's got a shark tank, free ice cream, drinks, snacks. He's like tapped into. It's the same thing. It's like when you go to IKEA. It's the same type of thing. You're like walking through there's all these things to buy. You can get Swedish meatballs and stuff.
They got monkeys at the IKEA you go to?
They got stuffed monkeys. But yeah, he took it to the next level. He took it to the Texas level of like, I want to see some capuchins. I want to see a shark. I want to see some exotic birds. And I need to buy a mattress and I want that display case for my Legos.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Hell is a capuchin.
I don't know, but it sounds wild.
It's a monkey. The monkey from the Angels, the rally monkey, that style of monkey is a capuchin monkey. Or like, have you ever seen that movie Outbreak? About a deathly plague
monkey
that starts from monkeys.
People's shoulders there.
Yeah. The same one from Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom.
Love that movie.
Yeah, that's a capuchin monkey. But not only that, you guys, Mattress Mack is a good dude. Okay, not only does every holidays he furnishes homes of underprivileged families. He's up to like 50 or 60 different homes. He does a bunch of them during the holidays. He donates tens of millions of dollars back to the community. He literally has a social worker on staff to help out customers or employees or what have you. During Hurricane Harvey, there was all sorts of flooding in Houston, and the man was on his truck, and he got all of his staff that were able to drive the trucks to go pick up people to have them live in his furniture store for weeks at a time. He did the same thing during Katrina. 800 families, 800 people were in his like warehouse, his giant warehouse, because they had nowhere else to go. The guy is just incredible. And like a true degenerate gambler, he says, how long did it take me to get over these losses? 2 seconds. A gambler has to be resilient, if anything. They knock you down, you got to get back up.
That's right.
Hats off to Mattress Mack. Not only does he get a ridiculous amount of media value for everything he does, he literally hedges his bet. So like if he loses his bet, no one is going to get free stuff. But if he wins, everyone wins.
That's right.
Incredible. Yeah. And of course, only in Texas, you guys.
Right. Well, I mean, he's really playing on that. Everybody's kind of got that, free stuff. Free stuff would be awesome kind of thing. So they're going to continue to say, hey, I'm going to take that bet, because the truth of the matter is he's had a rough January. I mean, he's lost about $5.5 million in January alone. So which means that he's had about at least four sales or four different times of 3 days where he's sold a whole bunch of mattresses. So as long as he's losing these bets, minus $5 million at the sports book is like plus $10 million in mattress sales. So a loss at the sports book is usually a big win for Mattress Mack. So even though his sports betting looks dumb, it's like kind of like he is dumb, but he is not so dumb.
He's so smart. He's just the value of a lifetime customer. JJ buys his mattress there. Please believe he's also buying everything he needs for any other type of furniture. He's going back to Mattress Mack every single time.
Oh, for sure, without a question.
And mattresses are expensive, but so is all the rest of the furniture in your house.
Yeah, every mattress in Texas should be a Mattress Mack mattress.
There it is.
That's all out for the sale. Make it happen.
Does he go outside of Texas at this point? Does this like fame and shit like?
No, he's Houston strong, and he's a Houston only guy. So like he's not expanding anywhere else. He's happy to help out his community and anyone else that he can. But the guy is he's incredible, and all the stuff that doesn't get publicized, all the stuff he does sure it does in Houston, but not everywhere else, is all how much he gives back for what he does. Like he wins $75 million.
Yeah, me either.
Wins $75 million, and people are like, oh shit, I get my money back. And he's like, not only do you get your money back, but because I made so much money, I'm giving you double. Like,
right.
That's incredible.
I thought he was like 90. I thought he was like 90 years old, dude. He's only 71. He's my dad's age. I was like, whoa. I thought he was way older than that.
Looks ancient. But I love the fact that you put it in. He's such a good dude, because that makes a big difference. It makes it look, it gives context to a story that, because we're not there, right? We don't get the full story on him. We just see the bets, and we just see what all the stuff. Me and my
You're
dad
like, what's this crazy Texas guy doing?
We're talking about like, this is a great business plan. I love the marketing. It's genius. We loved every second of it. But all we see is the bets and the big part of it, and the part that gets reported on nationally, right? So thank you for all the detail on that. I love the story. I love Mattress Mack. I love when that bursted on the scene. I was really taken with it. I thought it was awesome. I was definitely plugged into. Is so and so making a bet on this? Is Mattress Mack making a bet on this? Like, and I'm glad you were able to give us the numbers on how many mattresses he was actually selling when he was doing this, because the question I had was like, is he selling enough mattresses for it to make enough for him to actually hedge the bet? But it turns out he has, no doubt, and it's like not even close.
I'll leave you with this one with his one quote. We can replace a piece of furniture. You can't replace a human being.
Oh man,
dude, Mattress Mack, right to the heart.
Mattress Mack, everybody.
I'm not crying.
Alex,
you're crying.
It's who's cutting onions in here? Alex, awesome job. Thank you. I love that segment. Awesome. Sports business with the professor. We're going to keep doing it as we go on. We're going to keep looking into different things. Alex kind of comes up with these things that he digs into, which is kind of the business behind the sports that doesn't get as much of the attention, all of the things. So the broadcasting rights with the NFL was beautiful last week. We had a lot of good feedback on that. This was obviously great. We look forward to what you come up with next for that. But we're going to transition from that right into my man Shower Thoughts with JJ.
Shower Thoughts with JJ.
So when do you decide it's time to replace your underbreath? Kids today have no idea what the grind that dial-up internet is. They're there to cradle my taters. So until they're not cradling my taters, I'm rocking with them. They're holding my tater sack. That's when it's time for underwear replacement. Showed a little side boob, put a computer in the family room and watch that kid grow through adversity.
Vagina stories.
Hey, why's the printer out? And I scooted. She woke up to me with my hand in a bag of Cheetos. I was stumbling and bumbling. Two tall boys, you get a shot.
You got to stop pooping your pants.
And I trusted a fart and lost. Guys, coming at you this week with Shower Thoughts. I've been thinking a lot, and then I think I learned some knowledge from Mars as I bounce this off on him. Underwear replacement. And I know you just thought, what did he just say? I said underwear replacement. So when do you decide it's time to replace your underbritches? So my personal thought, and maybe I'm the off one here. It's just like an oil change every 10,000 miles. Just like I go get cold beer when I run out of the last one. I have a process. So for me, underwear aren't anything fancy. I'm not going on no GQ magazine. I'm not modeling at home. They're just serving a purpose. So the purpose is they're holding my tater sack. That just is what it is. That's what they're there to do. They keep me from chafing and hold my tater sack. So for me, I'm literally rocking the balls off of these things. And when I say that, I'm saying when I'm walking through my house and I bend over to pick up something, my nuts drop to the floor, that's when it's time for underwear replacement. I may be in the minority there, but they're there to cradle my taters. So until they're not cradling my taters, I'm rocking with them. Boys, I got to hear what you think here because I'm afraid I might be in the minority.
Oh my God. Okay.
I think we
So
lost Joe. Joe, you gotta get off the mute because we need to hear
Joe's lost it.
I have so many tears right now, man.
So
whole chest hurts.
Let me try and wrap my brain around this. So you wait until they have split down the middle and your bag is hanging through them before you replace your underwear. Is that the proper assessment of what you just said?
Pretty spot on, yeah. Until they no longer, like I say, serve their purpose, which is to hold my taters.
Right. You got to hold them up.
So
you need some support. And so I got to think that, I mean, I can't tell you if I've ever worn out a pair of breeches right there and, underneath my bag there. I think but it's been so long ago if it has happened that I would think that the fabric would have been loose enough to not be very supportive way before we're
obviously you
apart.
Don't have the metal balls that JJ has because that shit's ripping right through the under.
Yeah. Also, how corrosive is your taint? Like what kind of like fumes are you producing?
So that methane's eating.
Oh, your undercarriage is hot, bro. Oh,
actually, it's not. Apparently, it sounds like it's got a nice natural air conditioning.
Yeah, he just burns through that first layer of fabric. He's got a little built-in air conditioner for his bag.
Are your balls like the inside of a lacrosse ball, like one of those metal? Are they just?
This guy's had 3 chapters of underwear in his life.
It's like I'm rocking undies.
Yeah, if your balls are rubbing a hole.
Okay.
Well,
okay. I don't have a problem with that though. But like, I mean, you're washing these things. What type of underwear are we talking about here? Because I think it makes a difference.
No, that is a good point. That's the question that I asked when he brought it up this last weekend. Was what kind of underwear are you buying? Because the underwear that I buy are a little bit higher quality than that. You must be buying the 22 pack that
steals them. He steals them.
meant for basic training.
At the gas station. Like, where are you getting your shit?
There's the with the breathable spandex New Balance ones, spot on.
Oh, okay. See, this is the MLB sponsor. I know how you're getting your underoos for free.
No, these I'm paid.
These aren't team issued.
Hop on the 12 pack and you're set for a year and a half at least.
A year
and a half. Man, you're really running things out.
Whoa. Obviously, we talked on here. If you totally shit your britches beyond comeback, You got to.
Oh, they're gone. Yeah.
Well, let's
you're not
be
using
honest.
those things.
If we're talking about the original question, which was how often do you replace your underwear, I think the reality is for me that I've got enough underwear in the drawer that about every year around Christmas time we reload the troops. You know what I mean? It's all about the same.
I just did. Yep.
Style, the same, probably couple of brands, but we are out with the old, we're in with the new. I have no reason to keep saggy bottom underbritches around to give them a chance to get a hole in them, because if I get a hole in my underwear, then I feel like I've let somebody down along the lines. I'm not sure who, but somebody's going to be disappointed in me.
I'm not opposed to a small hole, because then when it's time to, talk to the lady, you can have that Hulk Hogan moment where you're literally ripping off your underoos. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's when you're ready to go ahead and send them off in their glory.
Oh no, they're going, but they're dying a good death. Like, you guys have done me well. Now I'm about to do you proud.
Jared's underwear apparently died some kind of death as well, and it's usually not as glorious as that. It's usually it sounds accidental. It sounds like he bends over to pull his britches up, to put his pants on, and then next thing you know, he's just shooting his bag out the back, and he's just like, "Well, these are done. I'm gonna have to go get another 20-pack from Walmart." You're buying them from like the Flying J down the street.
2 wears out and you feel them real thin, and you're like, man, that's barely holding anything in there. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll keep riding it out. And then when they fall through, for me, I'm like, damn, I gotta go Amazon.
That's not a good thing.
As soon as they start to pill up, where you get those little pieces of like cotton or whatever, if they gone,
done, bye.
They gotta go.
Also, your track record would suggest that you need to maintain a high level of quality of barrier between your butthole and any britches that you're wearing. So if you're good, because you can't trust. If we'll go back and review, and if anybody's just joining us, JJ can't trust a fart and tends to, as an adult, poop his pants way more often than anybody should, and it's one of the funniest things that he does, but it's also one of the most alarming. So back to the story at hand. You need to make sure you've got good underwear on, because if you do have an accident, I don't want you to ruin 2 things, right? Let's just keep it to 1. And if you've got a good barrier there, you might be able to save it.
That is the game.
When people talk about double bagging, I think about JJ wearing 2 sets of underoos these days. That's what I'm saying.
Might need it.
Dude, first of all, you spend a lot of time thinking about underwear in the shower. Can we make that? Can we let's look at that? I mean,
literally one of the only places in the entire world that you're not even supposed to.
Probably because he just took them off. They're sitting there on the ground, and he's like, "Oh shit, should I put?"
Well, yeah, he probably just.
He probably doesn't even change. Yeah, that's true.
I'm eyeballing the hole that's clean through it.
He was taking them off, and he got it hung on his toe, and they ripped in half. Like,
it's like, oh, these are good.
He's like, shit. Now they're shrapnel. And so he's sitting he's standing in the shower, just like.
We're starting to GoFundMe.
Who came up? Who invented underwear, anyways? Sounds about right.
Next week, shower thoughts will be about towels.
I literally talked to my son Jovi about this last night, because he's had a stomach ache and his stomach's been messed up. And basically, I gave him the protocol for if you accidentally shit yourself at school, don't even like sit there and try to hide it, bro, because I promise you're not going to hide it. We literally talked about this last night. And I said, if you shit yourself at school, you immediately ask to go to the bathroom. And if she says no, you insist that you go to the bathroom. And you go to the bathroom, you take that shit off, take care of everything, clean it up, like whatever, and you throw it in the trash. And he goes, we don't have a trash can in the bathroom. I said,
bullshit.
The hell kind of school is this? Yeah, I was like, the conversation just detoured to like the drive into the school and the shitty road into the school and all that stuff. But yeah, man, the kid got the 101 last night on the protocol just in case.
So what'd you tell him to do without a trash can? Because now JJ.
I said walk by the girls' bathroom and just chuck it in there.
Dad.
It's a dad move right there.
Just chuck it in there, man.
Put a trash can in there the next day.
That's hilarious. Yeah, there will be a trash can in the boys' bathroom the next day.
The next day.
No doubt. No doubt about it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dad talks.
That's amazing stuff, guys. I love it. Hey, real quick here, before we get out of here, Marla Jones dropped a bomb on me this last weekend with a story about the Indiana Hoosiers that absolutely blew my mind. And if this happens,
you have to explain who Marla Jones is.
Marla Jones, I will. Give me a second. Okay. Marla Jones is Jared's mother. And Jared's mother was in Phoenix as well as I, like we talked about earlier, in Phoenix for the baby shower. So I got to spend some time with Marla Jones. And Marla Jones is a history buff like you've never seen. And it dazzled me with some stories, but none like this one that I'd heard. So if this happened today, it would blow the internet. It would blow up the internet. I mean, it would absolutely just explode. And I cannot wait to dig into that next week. I'm going to leave you with that. We will dig into it for sure, but I cannot wait to talk about that next week. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you guys again for joining us on this ridiculous ride, but we are having a blast. We look forward to what's to come here on Stashcast. Again, quick reminder, YouTube coming soon. Please go check us out on Instagram and TikTok, where you can let us know if you have any topics you'd like to cover or like us to cover, or if you got any betting questions, DM us, or just leave something in the comments and we'll get back to you for sure. So we'll have spare time. You know what I mean? But crew, y'all crushed it. Get some rest. Take care of your families. Be good. Be well. Love you all big. Stashcast out.
Come on, take me on your UFO. Yeah, on your UFO. I've been on some other shit, just lost my fucking brother shit. Now I think it's time to beam myself back to the mothership. J-Rock is my co-pilot, that's the one that I hover with. Love the way we stubborn, like we rule our own government. We come through so thunderous, like everybody else is under us.